Welcome back to a live edition of OTR. It's time for the Sunday Roundtable, and we are joined this morning by Democratic political analyst Marianne Marsh and Republican political analyst Ginny Buckingham. Great to see you guys. Happy Sunday morning. Thanks for coming in.
Happy Sunday.
So you just heard former Congressman Mike Capuano's answer about a slimmer Democratic majority in the House. What could this mean for the Massachusetts delegation? Could anyone get bumped up in bigger roles like chairmanships or key committees like Capuano suggested? Marianne, let's start with you.
I mean, I agree with Mike Capuano. Everyone's well positioned and already in great positions, but the one who could probably get the most bump up is Katherine Clark, which he also mentioned. She's running for assistant speaker. That puts her in a position to become the next speaker when Nancy Pelosi leaves. Katherine Clark has exponentially increased her power in Capitol Hill, and she's going to do it again in a few weeks.
So, Jenny, you're not an expert on Democrats necessarily, but what do you think?
Well, first of all, nice to hear from Mike Capuano again. A lot of wisdom in what he had to say. And yes, he's correct. We're already well positioned with Congressman Neal and others. This was really a blow, this tighter margin for the agenda of an AOC and the far left. And I think Pelosi, House Speaker Pelosi, is going to be looking for people who will help her govern, who will help her move a moderate agenda forward.
Item 2 is the future. So let's ask about, very specifically, Elizabeth Warren's stock as a cabinet secretary. And where does that stand this morning? Right now with the Republicans, likely, and that's my word, I know it still is undecided, and with Kamala Harris to break any tie, the Democrats could well be in control of the Senate. But let's say the Republicans stay in control of the Senate, and a replacement for her as Massachusetts senator would be appointed by a Republican governor. What about Elizabeth Warren's stock as a cabinet secretary? Let me start with you, Ginny.
I think highly unlikely, given how close the Senate majority is likely to be. And I also think if President-elect Biden is true to his word about governing the entire country, then he's not going to want to put forward someone who's such a lightning rod.
She says unlikely, Marianne. What do you think?
I think her stock might have gone up this week because State Representative Mindy Dahm of Amherst filed an amendment to the budget requiring the governor to replace any senator with someone of the same party. So that's been something that's been used against her with the tight Senate margin. 2 races still left to go in Georgia. You don't want to take those few months while we have a special election. If they were to do that, her likelihood just increased.
Governor Baker may want most of us off the streets, but he says it's time to send more kids back into the classrooms for more hours, and he's citing pediatricians who call it a healthier option than staying home. He's not mandating anything, and the state won't police school districts. Are most parents, however, ready to do this, Marianne?
On the week that we had the most cases since April 2000, the most deaths, and Charlie Baker once again changes the way we count these things, being far less transparent, a totally different formula. Communities who had a 60% spike this week don't get turned red. He wants kids to go to school. I don't understand it. And not only that, the schools don't have what they need to do it. HVAC improvements, PPE, mask, tests, go down the list. So every superintendent and every teacher should make a list of everything they need to do this to be safe in a school, which is frankly an oxymoron at this point, and submit it to the governor and get the money for it. And then let's see. But I don't think it's going to work as we head into December, January, February, and March.
Jenny, do you agree or disagree?
I disagree. We know 2 things. We know very few cases have been transmitted in schools, and we know kids do much better in person than they do with remote learning. I say leave it up to the parents. Offer the opportunity for in-person learning, and don't leave it up to the teachers' unions and even school superintendents. Leave it up to the parents to decide what's best for their child.
Marianne, I hear you. I see you shaking your head.
Look at the schools who have had to shut, who tried it. And who knows how many people became infected because of it, because there are no tests. I mean, it's folly, just folly.
But do you think most parents are ready to do this or not? That's what, it's not so much what should
I think it depends. I think it depends, and it ought to be up to those parents to do what they think is right for their child.
It's a public health crisis.
All right, this next topic about the governor I'd like to mention, and I'm going to present it under the umbrella of I fully recognize a person's vote is their private matter. But Governor Baker, for the second time in a row, made public that he refused to vote for any presidential candidate, and he left that spot blank. Was this the right political move, or should he have just simply said vote is private? Marianne, let me start with you.
The only explanation is Charlie Baker's looking at a third term. 1.1 million voters in Massachusetts voted for Donald Trump. 33% in Massachusetts. That's the only explanation.
Ginny, what do you think?
It's hard to see the political calculus. I mean, you look at a Governor Phil Scott in Vermont who voted for Biden, and he's governing a state with an overwhelming majority of Democrats. I think Governor Baker did what he often does, which is took the cautious middle of the road route. He's kind of damned if he does, damned if he doesn't in this case.